Saturday, June 8, 2013. This is Mercedes Diesel Guy, and this is my 1995 Subaru Legacy L Outback. I'm troubleshooting an electrical problem today. Long and the short of it is, for whatever reason, at one time I did pop open the main fuse and relay box here in the engine compartment, and I noticed that this particular fuse right here, which is a 20 amp fuse, actually had been replaced with a 30 amp fuse. Now, this fuse right here controls the engine cooling fans. Initially, I had thought that maybe at some point the fuse had burned out and somebody simply didn't have anything else except a 30 amp and just put that in. So recently, I did replace it, also having noticed that the fans didn't seem to be working properly, and it burned out right away. Now, I replaced it again a day or two ago, and you can see right there that the fuse is still intact, but it's possible that the fans haven't tried to kick on yet. And I'm wondering what could be blowing that fuse. Because let me show you the 30 amp fuse I took out of there. It's in the spare fuse holder right now. You can see that the plastic body is melted, and the contact inside there is certainly deformed. That being said, it has not burned out, but that's because it's a higher rated fuse than should be in that circuit. So obviously something is not working correctly here. Thankfully the car is nowhere near overheating because the cooling system is in good shape, and I did replace the coolant with fresh coolant. And it's been my experience that if you're not running the AC, which I'm not because it's broken, and not driving the car too excessively, and the cooling system is intact, that it's not very likely to overheat. So one thing I did the other night, and I'm not going to do the whole thing again, but I will show it to you. It's my understanding that there's 4 relays controlling these fans. A main relay and a secondary relay for the main fan and the sub fan. And basically here they are. I forget which order they are, but these 3 and 1 inside the car actually control the fans. This one controls the AC compressor. And let me show you the one inside the car. Now, the one inside the car is actually very difficult to get to. It's actually located right here above the fuse box. It's going to be really hard to see anything, but you can see that black object right there kind of in the center of the frame, where that clips into the white or beige thing in the background. That is a relay. That's not it. There's 3 relays along that stretch. This is the one furthest towards the driver's seat. You want the one furthest away from the driver's seat, and that of course is one of the relays controlling the system. The long and the short of it is you want to test these relays for resistance and reaction to voltage. Which will do just fine for my purposes of testing. So the first thing you're going to want to do is just a quick resistance check on the relay itself. I've pulled one of them out, and you want this notch right here in the connector facing up. And here's terminals 1, 3, 2, and 4. The first thing you're going to want to do is check resistance between terminals 1 and 3, and that should come out on the order of around 100 ohms. So you can see I have my my meter here set in the 200 ohm range, and I'm just going to put that, see if I can even show you this here without dropping anything. So the first thing you're going to want to do is check between terminals 1 and 3 for resistance, which, like I said, should come out on the order of 100 ohms. And you can see we're right in about the right range there. Now you want to check 2 and 4, and you should have no reading there. Okay, no reading, that's good. So the last thing you want to do to check function of the relay is apply 12 volts to terminals 1 and 3, and then you should get a reading. Won't be the same 100 ohms, but you should get a reading now at terminals 2 and 4. So that's why I have this battery here. So I'm going to hook up one terminal right there with that clip. And once I hook up the other one here, you should hear the relay click. Okay, relay is active now, so you should see a reading. As you can see now, we are reading about between 3 and 4 ohms, and that's about what I was getting on all 4 relays. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually check function of the radiator fans themselves, and in order to do that I have to pull the electrical connector off the fans and apply power directly to the fan. I'll show you how to do that. So in order to check the fans, you need to run power directly to them. Now, I have already tested these two. It kind of took a while to figure out the best way to do it. But you pull the connectors off the fans, and the female end here, that's the one that is hooked up to the fan. And the terminals are negative, positive, and positive. You want to hook power... I'm going to hook up to the negative here, and then test each positive terminal individually. I did this on both fans, and they all ran, so I'm really not 100% sure what's going on here. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean the 2 grounds here. I'm not sure which one, if maybe both of them affect these fans, but they're along the frame rails here. There's this ground on this end, and that one on the other side. But like I said, I've pulled out all the relays, and I've checked the fans, and I really don't think it's the engine coolant temperature sensor, because I am getting a reading on the dashboard gauge. So, not sure what's going on here. Like I said, I'm going to clean these 2 grounds and see where that gets me. Well, as you can see, I actually have restored proper function to the cooling fans. I actually was about to call it a video, and I was about to just give up completely. Well, not give up, but I was going to just, leave diagnostics for another day, and I found something that, as you can see, got the fans working. So, why don't I just wait for these fans to go off? I'll shut the car off, and I'll show you what I did. I took a closer look at the wiring harness, and I noticed that there was electrical tape around this part of the loom here, which certainly... there certainly is some from the factory there, but I took a close look at it and it looked a little sloppier than it should from the factory. So when I peeled off the electrical tape, I saw, these insulators right here around the wires. And I figured out very quickly that the wiring for both fans had been spliced together. The red and yellow wire, all 4 of them were spliced together, as were... well, both of them, but, two wires coming into the splice from each end. Same thing with the blue and white and green and white wires. They were spliced together, as were the grounds. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why that was. Obviously, at some point in the past, I think somebody was dealing with some other kind of cooling fan problem by... creatively splicing things together, which was not the right way to go. So, I cut the connectors out, and I put in these new connectors right here. It's kind of the best I had. If I'd thought further ahead, I would have actually, run some heat, put some heat shrink on here, and then just heat shrunk these closed. But as it is, I don't want to break the connections apart in order to do that, so I'm just going to do a really good job taping this back up again. But when I got this all apart, there was a lot of corrosion there in the terminals, and so I cleaned that up, made new connections, and I noticed, and then there was one other thing I noticed. At the beginning of the video, I told you that this here was the fuse that controlled the fan system. Well, that's actually only partially true. When I was looking at the fuse diagram here inside the box again, I noticed that this was the fuse only for the sub fan. The sub fan being the one on the passenger side. So I figured, well, if that fan is fused, logically the main fan is also going to be fused. So I took a second look at the fuse box inside the car and found that there was a main fan fuse and it was burned out. So this 20 amp fuse which I put in a few days ago was not burned out, so I left it where it was. Put a new 20 amp fuse, which was correct, in for the main fuse, started the car, and it took a good 15-20 minutes for it to heat up properly, but the fans kicked on, and when I brought you into the video, the fans had kicked on a second time. So I'm going to cautiously say that I have fixed this, and just it's a good feeling, it's a good peace of mind to have this working again. So this unfortunately is not a full DIY, but hopefully if you've got problems with your Subaru cooling fans, this will give you some ideas how to diagnose it. Now I'm just going to call this fixed and keep an eye on it. So this is Mercedes Diesel Guy. Thanks for watching.